Welcome to The Critique. Today we're looking at a pretty intense public address focusing on alleged corruption at high levels involving Israel's Attorney General and the military prosecutor, especially around cases like the Force 100 incident.
Right, a very charged piece. You can feel the speaker's urgency, definitely trying to force some accountability.
Absolutely. So let's dive in. Our job, as always, is to see how we can sharpen the impact, make it really land.
Yep, make the critique as effective as possible. Where do we start?
Okay, first critique. It's about making the legal argument the absolute core, not letting it get drowned out.
Got it.
So the material does a good job highlighting a specific legal path. The Minister of Justice's power to suspend the Attorney General.
Yes, I saw that. Section 48A of the State Service Law? That's a really concrete mechanism, isn't it?
Exactly. It allows the minister to suspend the AG, who is, well, a state employee, for up to 14 days. Extendable, too, I think.
That's right. Pending a disciplinary review. It's a potentially very powerful lever, a real tool.
It is. But reading the piece, it feels like the speaker points to this sharp legal tool, the scalpel. And then almost immediately drops it to pick up, a megaphone and just shout about general political failures.
Okay, that's the weakness then. They identify this specific potent mechanism.
Yeah.
But then instantly pivot. They start lamenting the government's making mistakes or hinting at deeper conspiracies.
Right. And what does that do to the argument?
Well, it kind of undermines the legal point, doesn't it? It makes the suspension power seem theoretical, like it's impossible to actually use because, the politics are too messy.
Instead of framing it as the specific action needed because of the alleged mess.
Exactly. It turns a concrete demand into just another complaint. It feels less like a strategy and more like, venting.
Okay, so the suggestion here is structural. It's about rearranging things.
Pretty much. Make that legal path, Section 48A, the absolute centerpiece, the demand.
Okay.
Frame the alleged corruption, the AG's conduct, whatever, as the reason the minister must act, using this specific power. Don't frame it as the reason they can't act.
So the focus shifts squarely onto the minister's inaction, holding them accountable for not using the tool they have.
Yes, that's much clearer, much more direct for an audience to grab onto than just, general government failure.
So to make that really concrete, we need to spend more time just explaining 48A.
I think so, yeah. Really unpack it. Because the speaker even hints at why it's so useful, tactically.
You mean the point about the Supreme Court bagots?
Exactly. The speaker notes this temporary suspension might actually be somewhat resistant to immediate court intervention.
Because it's temporary? Like a hearing process?
Precisely. It's framed as a disciplinary step. For a state employee, the courts might hesitate to jump in right away. That's a huge tactical advantage that needs to be front and center.
Okay, so hammer that point home. The demand becomes about forcing the minister onto that specific procedural ground.
Yes, and a concrete way to push this is to challenge opponents or even supporters to create talking points just on this.
Like what?
Ask the question directly. Okay, the minister has this power under 48A. It's temporary. It's potentially shielded from immediate judicial review. Given the serious allegations against the AG, what is the minister's official reason for not triggering this disciplinary process?
That forces them to justify inaction on legal grounds, not just political ones.
Exactly. It moves the debate from, is the AG corrupt, to why isn't the ministers using the available tools to find out? Much stronger ground.
Right. It leverages the legal point they already found. Good. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the core accusations themselves. They're explosive. Particularly this idea of bribery relations between the AG and the military prosecutor, the FCR.
Yeah, that's a huge claim. The quid pro quo idea, right? FCR doesn't investigate the AG's son.
And the AG looks the other way on the FCR's conduct, specifically some video evidence mentioned. Impunity for impunity.
It's incredibly serious. Grabs attention immediately. But, and this is the key thing, when you make claims like bribery and conspiracy to commit a felony, you need more than just assertion, even if it's said with parliamentary privilege. Does the speech immediately back that up with cold, hard, procedural fact? Is the link between A and B really nailed down right there?
Well, that's probably the weakness. It feels very strongly asserted, relying on the speaker's authority.
Right.
But outside that context, without immediate, specific procedural evidence laid out right then, it risks sounding like, just political mudslinging.
Exact. It could be dismissed. So The suggestion is you have to anchor these huge claims in the specific procedural failures the text already mentions elsewhere.
Like the handling of the Force 100 soldiers.
Precisely. Connect the dots explicitly. Use the details of how the FZR case, or lack thereof, was handled as the proof supporting the bribery claim.
So things like not issuing subpoenas for the FCR? Or not searching computers while they did do that for the soldiers?
Yes, that differential treatment is key, and especially that distinction between a Bidika and a Hakira. That needs to be weaponized rhetorically.
Can you just quickly remind us of the difference? It's important.
Sure. A Hakira is a full-blown criminal investigation. Subpoenas, questioning under caution, evidence seizure, the work. It's serious.
Okay.
A Bidika, well, it's more like a preliminary check, an internal review. Maybe. It's much less formal, less power, easier to contain or shut down.
And the argument is the soldiers got the Hakira.
Right. The full treatment.
While the FSR herself and the issues around her conduct investigated by the AG only got a Bidika, or maybe even less.
That's the core of the procedural evidence. That alleged disparity is the evidence pointing towards protection, towards the alleged conspiracy.
Got it. So the concrete example here, when talking about the lack of a real investigation into the FSR,
you immediately contrast it with the Force 100 case. You say something like, look, the FCR launched a full Hakira criminal investigation against those soldiers. Warrants, seizures, everything. So why wasn't a full Hakira launched by the Attorney General into the serious allegations against the FCR herself? Why just to be DK? If even that.
That makes the alleged double standard crystal clear, visually, procedurally.
Exactly. And then, right after laying out that procedural contrast,
you explicitly state the conclusion?
Yes. You tie it up sharply. Something like, this reciprocal non-investigation is the evidence, the FCR's inaction on the AG's son, mirrored by the AG's inaction on the FCR's conduct.
Okay. Evidence first, then the clear statement of the alleged corrupt bargain makes it much harder to ignore.
Much harder. It grounds the explosive claim.
All right, final point. This one's about focus. The address covers a lot of ground. The main thrust seems to be that the whole legal security system is failing, right? Working against soldiers, against the public interest.
That's the overall theme, yeah.
And the evidence brought in includes Force 100, but also this complex case of A, the Shin Bet reservist, Avigdor Lieberman's alleged leaks, even the Gius law debate.
Whoa, okay. That is a broad sweep. Lieberman, the draft law, those are pretty distinct political battles, aren't they?
They are. And I guess the question is, does throwing all these high-stakes, quite different issues into the mix actually dilute the main message?
That's exactly. It feels like the weakness here is maybe too many crises. You jump from alleged FSR ad corruption to Shin Bet issues to state secret leaks to draft legislation.
Right. It's a lot for an audience to track.
It really is. You risk losing them or having them latch onto one issue while missing the central argument about the AG and FCR, which seems to be the core. Exhaustion sets in.
So the suggestion is, tighten the focus, be more selective about the examples?
Definitely. Apply Occam's razor, Don't multiply your villains or your battlefronts unnecessarily. Only use secondary examples that directly illustrate the main thesis. The legal system itself being misused or weaponized by the figures at the top.
Okay, so let's test that. The case of Achia, the Shin Bet guy, does that fit?
I think it fits perfectly. The allegation there, as I understand it, is that the AG used a bogus security charge and a heavy gag order. Not actually for state security, but to protect a specific individual, Ronan Bar, the Shin Bet head, from leaks about internal problems.
Right. Something about Kionism infiltrating the police?
Whatever the specifics, the mechanism alleged is pure legal system weaponization, using security powers for political protection. That directly supports the core thesis about the AG's office.
Okay, so A stays in. What about the Gius law? Or maybe the stuff about feuds with other politicians, like Edelstein?
Those feel much less relevant to the core charge. The Gius law, that's a whole separate massive parliamentary fight about legislation. It's not really an example of the AG or FRZR actively obstructing justice in a specific case, is it?
No, it's more about policy and politics.
Exactly. It pulls focus away from the alleged rot within the prosecution and legal enforcement side. So I'd say minimize those, or probably cut them entirely. Keep the laser focus on the AGFZR conduct.
Okay, concrete examples for doing this. For the A story, make sure its relevance is spelled out.
Absolutely. Streamline it. Hit the key points. Arrested, solitary, Shin Bet authority, AG seeks gag order claiming security, but the speaker intervened, revealing the real motive was allegedly silencing leaks about Roning Bar. Boom. Textbook example of abusing legal powers.
Connects right back to the central theme.
Yep. And conversely, the Gius law discussion. Just trim it way down or take it out. It drains energy from the core legal corruption allegation.
Right. Don't let the audience get lost in the weeds of a separate political debate.
Exactly. Keep the spotlight firmly on the alleged failures and corruption within the legal system itself. That's where the power of this critique lies. If you throw too much else in, people might just focus on the part they disagree with politically and dismiss the whole thing.
Makes sense. Keep it tight. Keep it focused on the legal mechanism abuse. Outro. Okay, this has been really helpful. I think a good exploration of how to take this already powerful critique and just maximize its punch.
Agreed. So, just to quickly recap the actionable suggestions for the speaker or writer here.
Go ahead.
First, really elevate that legal remedy. Section 48A, the suspension power. Make that the primary immediate demand targeting the Minister of Justice. Don't bury it under general political frustration.
Right. Make it the weapon, not a footnote.
Second, make sure those incredibly serious bribery relations claims are immediately backed by the specific procedural evidence you already have, especially that contrast between a full criminal investigation, the hakira, and the weaker check, the badika. Show, don't just tell.
Use the differential treatment as proof. Got it. And
Third, tighten that narrative focus. Be ruthless. Make sure every single example, every anecdote like the A case, directly serves the central thesis about the agent FCR misusing their legal power. Cut anything that pulls focus, like maybe the Gigi Schloss stuff.
Keep it laser-focused on the core legal system allegations.
Exactly. Sharpen the legal teeth, anchor the claims in procedure, and maintain focus.
Excellent. Well, we encourage the creators to refine this piece with these points in mind. And of course, feel free to submit the updated material back to the critique.
Definitely. Always happy to take another look.